back to the show. Now, earlier we looked at how they're tackling food waste at the Hungary Pavilion. Now, at Expo Live, our next guest has developed a patent-pending nutrient delivery technology.
That sounds like I want to know about it. And if you're wondering what this is, Tinia Pina, the founder and CEO of Re-Nuble, is here to explain more on how food waste can be converted into nutrients that will increase the resilience and sustainability of global agricultural communities. Whew, that was a long read. Welcome, good afternoon to you. How are you?
Good, thanks for having me.
Now, you are an Expo Live grant awardee from the grant here at Expo Live.
Yes.
Tell us what you do and what the grant has helped you to do with your Re-Nuble company.
I appreciate you asking. So I'm the founder and CEO of Re-Nuble. We're headquartered in New York City, and ultimately what we do is take food waste or unrecoverable food waste from food production, and we turn it into a source of verified, sterile nutrients that indoor growers can use. So the problem has always been that food waste is traditionally known as a great source of compost for soil farms, but when you want to use it in a very sterile, controlled system like a hydroponic or soilless system, it wreaks havoc on those systems because of the biologics of it. So we make it compatible so that growers can use food waste as a sole nutrient source.
Wow. Now, how on earth do you come up with an idea like that? Or how do you kind of go, right, we're going to take that and do that? And where did the idea start? Because it sounds very complex.
It is, and a lot of years of testing. So we, back in 2012, in New York City, we were spending $77 million to export our food waste to China, Pennsylvania, Virginia.
Really?
Yeah, and it continues to grow because of the budgets that are increasingly reduced. So we lack infrastructure, and that same problem is similar for other cities around the world. And what we wanted to do was enable more farms, primarily focused on indoor growers first, to be able to use this growing food waste stream so that they can reclaim nutrients from it and be able to grow more organic produce.
Is this what we're looking at here then? This is the farms that are benefiting from what you've managed to create there?
You're exactly right.
Amazing. Now, how is that? I mean, it's helped obviously with the costs from getting the food waste going and shipping all over the world. How has it helped the people who grow the products? Has it saved them money, made things to produce a lot cheaper? What's the benefit?
So our mission is to help these farms reduce their dependency on mineral salts. Mineral salts contribute to 3% of the global greenhouse gas emissions. And so if we succeed, we can enable these farms to use the nutrients from their local waste streams and hopefully basically produce organic produce that can be comparable in cost to ones that are grown with mineral salts. As a result of not only global supply chain constraints, but the cost of nitrogen increasing sometimes by 3 times its original price, we're helping these farms hedge their costs and really produce a more viable source of organics using food waste.
What is the actual process then to create soil for soilless farms? How do we do that?
Yeah, so the nutrients that we reclaim from food waste, we first pasteurize it, almost like if you were using a pasteurization process for orange juice. So you have to make sure that there's no pathogens in it. From there, we basically use a proprietary process to make the nutrients water soluble, and that just means that the plants can immediately absorb it as plant food. And from there, we fulfill it nationwide around the U.S., and our goal is to take our process and enable other agricultural economies outside of the U.S. to do the same thing that we're doing here, or in the U.S.
How do they kind of get on board with that? Do they find that the initial cost setup is going to be overwhelming for them and they don't want to get on board? Is it subsidized? I mean, how do emerging countries kind of get on board with the same problems that the US or the world has with food waste? How do they subsidize it in a way, I suppose?
It's a good question. The good thing is that we don't rely on subsidies.
Okay.
And because there's been this global move for increased domestic food production and increased food waste diversion, especially when you're looking in the APAC region, Saudi Arabia, that has served as a tailwind for us. And so we can come in and say we can provide our process dedicated to a hub or localized region of farms or to a single farm, depending on their scale, so that they have more security of the nutrients and the cost to be able to produce their food.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is amazing. And so how has the reaction been thus far?
It's been really favorable. In the U.S., there's a lot of interest shifting from field farms to indoor growing because of the control and the need for predictability. And outside of it has been the same, thankfully. And I think, you know, the fact that we're really trying to enable more resilience with any global farm, that's largely helped these farms increase their sustainability and give them more comfort of security.
Well, Tinia, thank you very much for joining us today. You've spoken beautifully, and hopefully everybody's going to be able to get on board with this wonderful process and product, the design of yours to, well, make it more sensitive for food waste and the costs and waste of money that all around the world. We wish you much luck with it.
Thank you so
not
much.
that you're going to need it, but thank you for joining us.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
No doubt, actually, that agri-tech like Re-Nuble will help us move towards a more sustainable agriculture industry. Now,